Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming at you with another Age of Mythology Retold video. And in this one, it's quite a simple question, or is it? When should you get your eco upgrades? I've seen this on many streams, not just my own, people asking in chat, when should I get it? When's the best time? I've sort of struggle on the decision-making side of things for eco upgrades. And also, you can easily forget about it, and then you sort of are left at the end of the game wondering why your opponent was so far ahead in eco. So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the Norse here under the ox cart. It's going to be the same for all of the other pantheons. We're going to just be looking at this section here, just looking at the eco upgrades, giving you my advice on when I think you should be going for these. So let's start off with the two most popular. We have the pickaxe and the hand axe. So these two, they like to go hand in hand. You'll generally see lots of players will want to sort of activate both of these and start to train them together. Now there's two kind of times that you want to do this, and it all depends on how you want to first start your second age. So if you want to have more of an eco-centric and you don't want to be immediately creating military units when you go into the second age, then I would recommend between the first and the second age, start thinking about getting these upgrades in. And as I always mention, right-click queue these upgrades. So if you don't have the resources at the time, just right-click them. If you know you want them, right-click both of these, and then you don't have to worry about it. When the resources come in, they will immediately start queuing both of these technologies for you. Now, the pickaxe is a big one, 10% gather work rate, and also there's 5 on the gold carry capacity, and the same for wood as well. Now, just bear in mind, we have 50 food and 120 wood for pickaxe, and 120 food and 50 coin only for hand axe. So remember, the way that resources work in macro, wood is the quickest to gather, then it's gold, then it's food. So think about that when you're trying to move around your villagers or your gatherers, and you're trying to get these upgrades in. But normally, it's either between the first and second age, you want to click these up. If you want to delay it a bit, that's fine, and you want to get some units out, that's fine. Just don't forget about it. Don't forget about it all the way until you're in the third and fourth age and you've realized, oh my God, I haven't even got these upgrades. So really just at the back of your mind, if you don't get them in the transition between age 1 and age 2, then maybe think about maybe around the 8-9 minute mark. Just check back. Have you got any of these? If you haven't, try and see if you can get them in. It will really help your eco. Especially when you get more villagers and more gatherers. It's 10% gather work rate, so the more villages you have, the more of an impact it's going to have. For example, if you have 7 dwarves on a gold mine, 10% means that's nearly an extra dwarf that's going to be on there when you do get the pickaxe upgrade. So just think about it in that kind of terms. Okay, so they're the two staples. Okay, what about this one here? This is available in the first age. Do I go for it? The answer is no. This is possibly one of the last kind of upgrades that you want to get once you've exhausted all of your food options. So sort of from the most valuable to the least, it's your huntables first. So you normally have 1 huntable in your base. Then you might want to go on to a second and third that are slightly outside of your base. So that's the first thing. The next is the chickens. You normally have like a group of chickens in your base. You probably want to go for those next. Then you go to your berries. Then after that, you're going to your herdables, which is where you want to think about getting husbandry. I would suggest getting husbandry when you're going onto your chickens. So your chickens won't last very long. So when you move over to your chickens and you're thinking to yourself, okay, right, I'm getting to the stage where I'm going to need to start to eat my sheep or eat my cows. At that point, you want to be locking in husbandry. And the reason that is because it's a huge gather rate bonus of 25%. And also on top of that, you have a 10% as well, and also food carry capacity of 15. And that doesn't just apply to your herdables, that applies to everything. So when you finish with your herdables and you move over to farms, that food carry capacity is going to help for your farms as well. So That's just on that one there. So husbandry, kind of a crucial one. Just think about it at the back of your mind when you are nearly planning on moving over. Lock in husbandry. Okay, moving on to the second age text that you have, we have Plow. This is a later game option. When you start to go over to farms, that's when you want to get Plow. Quite straightforward. When you're building all of your farms, think to yourself, Plow. Let's lock that in, and you get 10% gather work rate from it as well, which is nice. Going into the third age, got some interesting options here. So this one here is survival equipment. Not many people use this. And I would suggest getting this if you're getting raided, if you're getting harassed, if you think that you're going to have to venture out onto the map, onto gold mines, and your opponent has some good map control and he might be trying to harass you, survival equipment is really good because you get 25% villager HP, and also their damage and range damage is increased as well. This is really good for Atlanteans. Atlanteans that have the citizens that can become hero units as well, so they do extra damage to myth units. Survival equipment can be a really, really good option, and it's overlooked a lot of times. So that one I probably suggest getting if you are or have been raided in the game and you want to try and survive a bit more. Survival equipment is a good one. Okay, moving over to irrigation. Once again, it's a further farm upgrade, so this is more late game. Depends on how many farms you have at the time. It is a lot of coin, not too much wood. So once again, probably going to be a third, fourth age option, especially if you've pretty much got everyone on farms now. Irrigation is probably going to be an option for you. Now, shaft mine and bow saw. Shaft mine's quite easy because it costs a lot of wood, and remember, wood is the quickest to gather. And food, it's not too much, 150 food. So this is quite a nice one, quite a cheap one compared to bow saw, which is a little bit more expensive because of the amount of food that it costs as well. Once again, I tend to kind of go for both of these when I'm thinking maybe I'm in the late game and I'm in the third age and I'm thinking about going to the fourth age. When I'm maybe queuing for the fourth age, I like to get shaft mine and bow saw. I like to get it a little bit later. I tend to play more aggressive, so I'd rather invest my resources into units rather than getting these upgrades. So that's something to bear in mind as well. This one is a unique one, the winter harvest. It's unique to the North, so I'm not going to talk about unique ones, just kind of the base ones that everybody has. And then finally, in the mythic age, we have the big upgrades here. Honestly, I can't really tell you about these ones. It's really difficult to give you an idea of when you should go for this stuff. Probably if you're floating a load of resources, right? If you need to spend resources, which if you are a beginner player, if you're a new player, you're probably going to be floating a crazy amount of resources at some point, then try and spend those resources, invest in your eco. There's always these upgrades available to you when you're in the mythic age. So, ladies and gents, that's going to wrap it up in a nutshell. How long did that take? Just over 8 minutes to go through that for you. I think the key ones that everybody asks about are the pickaxe, the hand axe, very early on. It's a very big decision to make, as well as husbandry as well. These three tend to be a very sort of frequent question from new players around when on earth do I get this? But something I would always recommend, really, is if you're very, very new, then in the transition from the first age to the second age, just lock both of these in. And then you don't have to worry about it. Just lock them in, right-click queue them, lock them in, and then it's done and dusted. It's out the way. You don't have to revisit it, think about it. So that's what I'd recommend if you're a very, very new player. Just make sure to try and get these when you're going from the first to the second age. All right, guys, that's it. Wrapped up in a nutshell. Let me know down in the comments below if you think there's anything I've missed. I'm not talking about any of the unique techs in this video, specifically, for example, the Winter Harvest. That is something specifically for the Norse Pantheon, so I'm not going to talk about that. But make sure and let me know what your comments are, what your advice could be as well to other new players. And of course, I'll catch you in the next video or the next stream. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.